All right, guys, can you hear me? All right, so it doesn't look like that recorded at all. I'm so sorry. I'll have to go back and go over that stuff for you. Okay, so let's start our project, shall we? All right. Are there any questions about the menu design? Okay. All right, well, let's get started here. Everyone pull up there in design if you can. And I'm just going to close out of some of these boxes here. Have you guys started your InDesign pages? I know some of you have tried starting. That's good. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is make sure that our document is laid out. Luckily for you guys, during week 3, you already did the cover of your design. Let me see if I can find, get rid of this here. So setting up your document should be easy. You go to File, New Document. You want 4 pages. You don't want facing pages, so you want to turn that off. I swear, my computer is deciding if it wants to work tonight or not. I think it's done. Okay. Okay. So now you should have 4 pages. If you grab pages, there we go. All right, so thanks, Sonia. Okay, so if you guys are ready to go, do you want to take a few minute break? I don't know if you've got a break. I don't want to just start if you guys need to run and do some things. Would you rather just dive into the assignment? Okay. Okay, so we obviously know that menus play a huge part in shaping a diner's experience, right? We just went over the CRAP model. For better or for worse, we're aiming for the former. Whether you're creating a menu for a restaurant or a pop-up, or just simply looking for a way to wow friends, this is how I want you to tackle this. So we came up with something that looked similar to this. This one didn't use any photos, and a lot of you, it looked like it did. When you did your assignment, you had incorporated the food photos, and I really thought that was cool. Some of you were very creative in the way that you did it. So I'm just going to place this here. So I did something similar to this as my cover. This doesn't include the logo, but I can place that later. All right. And you guys should have a bleed set up. Don't forget your bleed. So if you do this, you go to File, New Document, and to make sure that your document has a bleed, you go here, 0.125 inches, hit Tab, 0.125 inches, hit Tab. And then they should all be connected. Okay, hit OK, and then you'll know you have a bleed when you see this red line, this red exterior line that frames your page. So let's design in that one. Okay, and so the idea here is to have my background color extend all the way to the red, just like that. Okay, now don't forget you obviously need your logo and everything there. All right. So let's go to the second page. Let's do the interior page. Now to do an interior page, you're going to want to set up the menu document in a way that you can have columns. You want to set it to number of columns. So the way that you do that is you go to number of columns. So if you go to page, let's see. File, new document. And if you were doing a menu, you could set up some more custom things, but I think the assignment has given you some specific dimensions, 8.5 by 11, so we'll just stick with that. Let's move on to your columns. Okay, so to create your new document, you want to make sure you've got your layers open. So I've got my layers box right here. And remember, we set it up where we added layers. So I had layer 1 was text. Layer 2, going to be pictures. Well, that's a good question, Pablo. I think, according to Kat, there's a Word document in the zip folder for the final assignment, the final assessment, so you will just use the text that they've given you. I'm not going to put a limit on there. If you're getting really creative and you want to add more, feel free to add more. You just have to use at least the minimum of what they've given you. And I honestly couldn't tell you how many menu items are in that document. Anyways, you're going to set up your layers just like that. Next, oh yeah, we're going to include, we're going to go set up our master pages. So if you haven't done this already, you really need to go into your master page, a master, and I'm going to do my page footer. I'm going to zoom in so you can see. Do a text box, go to type, insert special character, and I'm going, whoops, there we go. Type, insert special character, markers, current page. Okay, and I'm going to tab over. And then I'll give my company name. I'll format it in the font that would be most resemblant of the logo, what's in the logo. Let's do Arial. And I'm going to change the font size. I want this to be really tiny. There we go. I'm going to move this down past the margin line. So now that's all set. To see if that worked, you click on any page, you see your formatting right there. Yeah, the name of the restaurant. So what's the name of the restaurant? And I'll go ahead and put that in. Anyone know? Gino's. Thank you. So we'll put Gino's there. If you want to make a change to the master, you just go back to the master. There you go. I can even give it a color. Let's see here. I'll do gray. I could do a red, a dark red if I'm going to do pizza, or if I wanted it to be just a very subtle black, I could go to my tint and make it 50%. It's just a very subtle gray. Okay. All right, so now I've got my master page elements, and I've got, you should already have some paragraph style set up. Now what you need to do is we need to build a border on our menu. So I'm going to grab, I did this on my last example, just like the cover page. Okay, I'm going to move on to page 2 now. I'm just going to grab my rectangle box and I'm going to draw a border. I'm going to draw my border. Probably just trace the margin line is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set my border to white diamond. Set the stroke to about 2 point. And I'll keep it black. Maybe I do it a little larger. Okay, there's my border. Paula's asking if it's a folding menu, there should be facing pages. It's definitely more helpful. You don't have to do facing pages, but what's helpful with the facing pages is that if you, most likely in a folding menu, there'll be a continuous design onto both pages. So it's very helpful to have them facing each other. So yes, you'd want to design in the facing pages setting. You want that, have that checked. If you're just doing separate pages, then it doesn't matter. Good question, Pablo. All right, so now that I've taken, I'm on page 2 now, and I've drawn my border. I want this border to appear on all my pages, so I'm actually going to put it on my master. Okay, and I'm going to move it here. Get it all lined up. So this is repetition. This is an example of repetition, right? I've got my footer and my border on all pages. Now notice I picked a very dark green color. This could have been red, could be blue, whatever bold colors you're using. Please be wary not to carry that through all 4 pages of your design. Okay, there's a way to tastefully add those elements of color, but you definitely want a clean white background for your menu items. All right, so next we're going to take the line tool. And I'm going to draw a line down the page. I'm going to take with my Smart Guides on, I'm going to make sure that this lines up, centers, right there. Do you see how my lines click into place? It's telling me that's the immediate center of the page. I'm going to grab my eyedropper tool. That's how you know you've got it lined up perfectly. And I'm going to copy that diamond right there, okay? I'm going to make the middle one a little, maybe not smaller. I'll leave it like that. So again, that's how I got that. I drew a rectangle box or a line tool, go up to your stroke, and I picked white diamond. You can also access it by going to the stroke panel, window, stroke, and then I set the weight to 3. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so step 2 is now that I've got this line tool added, I'm going to add some other sections to my menu. So by doing that, I'm going to position, I'm going to grab my line tool, I'm going to do some sections. And notice when I'm drawing my line tool, I want an even amount of space on the right between this line as I do my border. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to kind of center it in between. I want you to be keeping an eye out for those things. Okay? And the idea here is to create kind of a staggered look. Whoops. Holding down Alt or Option on your keyboard as you click and drag will allow you to copy items evenly. I'm going to line all this up just like that. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm creating sections within my menu. Copy and paste would work as well. You can position both on the right side of the page, whatever you want to do. Just make sure it's even amount of space between each section. And I might even close the gap a little bit more. Just like that. So what we want to do is pick a fresh summery color palette. Maybe this is a pizza place. Your menu should look good enough to eat. So that's kind of the goal we want to have. Color can play a big part in how attractive the menu looks. And so I really want you to take some consideration. Don't pick colors at random. Try to match the colors that are in your logo. After all, this is the client's company. This is Geno's. They've hired you to design their menu. So if you're doing like yellow and red and yellow is nowhere to be found in their logo, then you probably don't want to do that. You want to stick as close to the color palette as possible that's in the existing logo. So your menu should look good enough and be consistent with their branding. Yeah, like Pablo said, color should be inviting, absolutely. So for this menu, we want to pick a single strong color that will work well with the black and the white elements. So here I've gone for like the grass fresh green, but if you're doing the design for Geno's Pizza, you might want to consider more of a red or the white and red, but you feel free to try out a different strong shade if you want. You could try sky blue or some color, but just make sure it goes well with the logo. Now to create a color, you can go to the swatches menu. So you go to Window, click on Swatches or Color, then Swatches. Yeah, I do too. In fact, I might pull that logo down, but with my computer crashing, not quite sure. Here we go. I got the logo. The Bon Appetito. Could put it up there. Here's the logo. I'm gonna go put it up here. Now the grain doesn't exactly match, so I can change that later. I might want to change it to a red. Okay, there's my menu cover. Here's a repetitious element I'm including to make sure that this is centered on my page. I'm going to probably have that going throughout. So I'll put that on my master page right there. There we go. So now on each page, I'll have that. And I'll probably have this column dividing on each page as well. So now on my other pages, it follows. Yeah, absolutely, Sonia. You can use the align window for the centering. And then Kat asked, okay, Kat, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so now that I've got my sections lined up here, now the idea is to get my menu laid out, okay? So you saw how we designed the banner, right? We get my type tool, create a text frame anywhere on your page. With the cursor blinking, you can go and select your font. And I forget the font. I think it was, I had you download it the other day. Let's see, what was it called? Oh yeah, Adhesive and R7. Oops. I'm going to pull up the glyphs so we can see what this font offers. And I'm going to do a banner, just a very straightforward banner for the inside pages. Now, in contrast to my cover, sorry, I'm going to jump around for a minute. In contrast to my cover, I've got this a bright green, bold color, but now as contrast, I'm going to have white be my background color. So it's a very clean, easy to read background color for the eyes. All right, so now that I've created my banner, I'll get my glyphs out again. And I'm probably going to select, this is a very straightforward banner. Right like that, okay? And I'm going to make it bigger. Okay. There we go. Let me do this. I'm going to make sure this is centered within my box. Whoops. So this is going to act as my banner for the menu. And I'm going to do another one over here. But this time, I'm going to do a different kind of banner. This one, let's see what this one looks like. That looks kind of cool. Stick with that one. This time I'm going to use the color that I chose in the cover. All right. And then each section is going to have its own little banner. See, it disappeared, so I've got to find it. There we go. Whoops. Hold down Alt Option or copy and paste. Yeah, there's a lot of options you could do. Pablo made a suggestion about what I could do with one of them. Sky's the limit. This is just to get you started on kind of brainstorming a little bit, kind of seeing what you know, kind of do a spin-off of what I'm doing. You don't have to do what I'm doing. This is your menu. That's a good suggestion, Pablo. Okay, and I'm just going to be creating several different banners over here. And I want the same amount of space, even amount of space as I do under each of the bars. Exactly. Well, this is going to be my form of repetition. And I'm not going to use a million different banners. I am going to use a few of the same. All right. And then last one. Let me move this up a little bit. Okay, and now I'll go in and change the color. I'm going to want black on some of these. Okay, so now I've got my banners placed. This is going to tell the customer right away that this is going to be sections, and just like Pablo suggested, I'm also going to, another thing you can do is add a little bit of color at the bottom here if you wanted. This is another element of design that you could include. Like that. Oh, don't forget to save. And I'll probably put that on all of my pages, except for this box, I'm going to override. If you need to override anything, and probably need to override it on the cover, just go right click on your page that you want to override the elements on. Click override all master page items. And then it allows you to go in and delete the items that you don't want to appear. But all the other pages, it will still be there. Okay? So the next step is over the top of each banner, you want a text frame. You want to layer another text frame containing a subheading. So we're going to go back to our layers. Where's my layers? Okay, and this would go into your text. Hit OK. Make sure it's highlighted. I'm going to draw a text box. I go to color, and then I'm going to change the size. Okay, now I don't want it to be this big, but all right, I want to make sure it's centered into my banner as best as possible. Use your smart guides to do that. Now this is where you could do a paragraph style, where you highlight it, go to your paragraph style, because all the headers are going to be the same paragraph style. Click on New, and this is where you can set your style. So can give it a name. This will be the subheader. Yeah, the font is called Adhesive. So just clicking on my paragraph style, now I have created a really easy way to design, because now everything is saved for me. All right. One thing about typing into your InDesign is that it will, you kind of risk not spelling something correctly. So you either want to pull it from a Word document, that should save you the trouble, or make sure you do a quick spell check. Let's do, what's another one? So you can kind of see it coming together. I haven't used images yet, so you don't have to use pictures if you don't want to. If I wanted to pull a picture, let me see if I can get that zip file open. I'll let you use your discretion on what you want it to look like, but yeah, and again, Pablo, it's really your call. Whatever you want to do, what appeals to you. But this hopefully gives you an idea of, you know, where to go with the design. But yeah, this is the fun part of the class, is that you actually don't have to copy anyone for once. All right, so this gives you kind of a basic idea of how to lay this out. I'm just gonna run through this real quick. Make sure you try to get everything as accurate as possible. All right. All right, so are there any questions so far where we're at? Okay, so I'll finish this up real quick and then we'll move on to the next stage of the inside page. So we've applied a master, we've applied a paragraph style, we've applied master page elements, so that's the main thing that you'll be graded on. Did you include at least one? All right, and then the next step here, I could probably add a little bit more information. Perhaps maybe I could go to the master page and add another element. Type in menu. This way, see if we can find. No, we don't want that. Now, I use a fancy font only for small elements. I don't want fancy font for large lists of elements. So please be aware of that. A lot of you I know when it says restaurant, everyone gravitates towards the fancy fonts. I'm using this just as an example, just to kind of use it for contrast. But if you're going to use large bodies of text like menu items, please use a serif or sans serif font for cleanliness. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. So it does not need to be that big. Yeah, exactly. So just kind of use your design eye. I just don't want to see a lot of fancy font used for menu items. It's hard to read. It's discouraged in the design industry anyways. So just try to use it tastefully would be my only suggestion. All right, and then with this color, I'm going to give it that green as a contrast to break up the black. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at my page. So there we go. Got that. You know what? I might even want to shift things a little bit, make more room. You want to look for where your letters are lining up. Okay, where do your letters lay? I'm going to make sure everything's lined up. And then over here, I'm going to draw a text box. Okay, am I doing this? I'm just giving it a little bit of balance. Since I've got the Bon Appetito on the left side, I want to create some balance. And because it's in black, I'm also going to make this in black. And I'm going to make sure that my text, the bottom of my text lines up with that blue line there. So everything is touching. Okay, looks good. Perhaps this could be bolded. There we go. For balance. Okay, so now everything is kind of where I want it to be. Might have to shift some things down. In fact, I might do that just to make everything just a little smaller. I'm holding down Shift as I'm highlighting my text and my banners because I kind of want to make these a little smaller. There we go. And again, you might just need to center them where you want them to be. All this menu design makes me want to get some dinner. I am hungry. All right, we haven't even placed the pictures yet. Let's grab a picture. I'm going to pull a picture in. Now, obviously, your picture doesn't have to be this big. This is just an example. Now, if you've placed a picture, I want to show you this. This is a cool trick. If you've placed a picture, click on your photo, and if you double click on it, you'll see this brown border. This shows you the size of the photo. You'll see a little hand when you hover over the picture. This allows you to change the photo within its box. So by double clicking on your photo, it will allow you to move the picture within the box. So you can kind of get a better positioning on the photo. So that's kind of cool. All right. Well, Pablo, I kind of have to disagree with you on that. Pablo's saying that I don't need the horizontal lines because I already have banners. That might be the case, but when I have text running from appetizers down, I don't want it to be running into my banner. I need to have a clear defined section that this is where appetizers end. Otherwise, they might think that starters is part of the appetizer section. So I'm trying to separate it, give it a very clear cut. This is the end of the section. One could argue that I could take well, let's try that. Take the line off. Now it's like it runs into the section. There's no separation. You see that? Now again, it goes into personal preference or design functionality, and I think that we're teetering the line. So if we were to take these banners off, yeah, technically the banners do say it's a new section, but I think that there's adds an extra element of separation to the section. It kind of boxes in my elements of my text items, and I think that's what I want. And I think you'll see that it will be a little bit clearer to you once we start flowing in the text, because really it's hard to see now because you're like, oh, well, but when you have a lot of text on a page, you really want as many dividers as possible. We want to keep it simple, but we still want a very clear-cut section. So if it were you designing, you probably would leave them off. If it was me designing, I'd probably leave them on. This just allows me a little bit more separation for my sections. But that's a good comment that you're making. It allows us to look at the design a little bit more. Okay, so I'm actually going to flow some text into this since we're running out of time. So you can see how it's formatted. Let me open this Word document real quick. And once you get the Word document open, you can go to Edit, Copy, Edit, and Paste, and then you can just paste the entire text. See if my Word document will open. There we go. I actually have a million windows open. Okay. So they've already given you the headers, so I guess starters would be soup and salad. So I'll do this as an example. So we'll fix this. So I'll put soup and salad. Obviously, this needs to be quite a bit smaller. Let's see how much wider. Okay, a little bit smaller. Here we go. And then with the text being a little smaller, I probably will want to make the banner a little bit more narrower. You can adjust as you get there, but I'll zoom in on this section so that we know, okay, we're in the soup and salad part. Let's go to, okay, so there's a description on how to do this, on what this section is about. Remember, we're talking about descriptors. This, I'm going to want to make very small text. I don't want it to be very big at all. So I'm going to go about 9 font. And I'll stick with Minion Pro. I'm going to make this, I'll make this black text. Actually, I'm going to do Arial. So I'm going to use the Minion Pro for the actual, I'm going to do a contrast font. So I'm going to do an actual times serif font for the menu items. And I'm going to get this down pretty small. Let's do 7.5 maybe. Might be too small. Let's do 8. Okay, so there's my description. I might center this so it's centered with my soup and salad. Okay, and then I'm going to grab another text box. And I'm going to do columns within. And I'm going to grab some more text. I'll grab 2 items. So first of all, I want to pick the font that I want. I want about 8 font for my menu items. This I might make even smaller. I'm probably going to do 7. There we go. That's a nice clean line. That's what we want. I'm going to bring this up here. I'm going to leave some space, some white space so it breaks it up. Remember, we're doing some contrast here. And I'm going to grab the header. This is where you could create a paragraph style. This would be a good place. Let's go grab it. Type paragraph styles. And this is where I probably do kind of my basic paragraph. Well, we probably need to do a new one. This one will be my body text. Or let's do menu items. Hit OK. I'm going to set this to be might do Arial bold. And 12 font looks about right. Let's do bold condensed. Yeah, that's fine. Right over. 1 second. Okay, so bold, condensed, I want it to be 12. I'm going to include a new one. I'm going to actually drag this into the trash. This is going to be my menu items. Hit OK. Now I can highlight this and click on menu items, and it will automatically format this for me. I'm going to get this lined up. I'm going to make this super small. Remember, we were talking about really small, and I might even do Arial. So this would be a way that you could do price. So I'm going to highlight this, do another menu item. This is going to be price. So now that when I highlight something, I can click on price and it will automatically do it. I guess it's, let's fix that. Let's bring this down. See if we can get it all on one line, shall we? I'm going to take off the zeros. There we go. Your eyedropper tool will be your friend too, in this case. So as you can see, it's just a matter of formatting your text so it reads like a menu. You notice the prices are on the right-hand side. menu items are on the left-hand side. Notice how everything is lining up. If I were to take my ruler, I would want everything to line up. So if it isn't, I need to go back and fix it. We can't trust our eyeballs. Just like that. All right, whoops. And then we'll probably want to format the body text. So in that case, I'll do Arial again. This time I want, yep, some will be longer than others, so you need to adjust your font size for that. I give you permission to, I guess, shorten the title. So Italian chopped salad might just be Italian salad. You can do that. I give you permission to do that. You don't have to, if you need to fit it. I want it to be functional, but I also want you to be able to be practical about fitting it in on the same line. I want it to all look really good. Okay, and there's my description. I'm going to adjust the tracking a little bit. I'm going to take off the dollars, the zeros. You don't need that on a menu. Anyways, so this gives you an idea of how you should format the inside of your menu. I'll do these two columns real quick and then we'll move on. I'm going to put a return between each menu item. And then I'm going to format the price. Now, if some titles are shorter than others, you still need the prices to line up at that same place. So use your rulers. Okay? And you can turn off your hyphenated words. Do you see sour cream or sourdough in this case? It puts a hard return. Wow. Cuts off the word right here. Oops. So I'm going to go up at the top. I'm going to highlight my text, click off, deselect hyphenate. And you're going to want to do that for each paragraph because you really don't want that hard return or it cuts off words. No one likes that. Okay, and let's zoom out and see what we got. Yeah, you're going to have to play with kerning. The only trap that you can kind of fall into with kerning is that you don't keep things consistent. So if you're going to do a negative 20 on kerning, you need to do negative 20 on all of them. You just need to be as consistent as possible. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I can even go a step further and say I'm going to do a tint on this and only do about 65% so that there's some gray. Doing this will make the item stand out more because the description's not the star of the show. So not only did I make it smaller than the title of the menu item, but I also kind of toned down the color. Yeah, paragraph styles are such a time saver for sure. And then you can play around with the banner if you don't like it right there. You can do something like this. Pablo, you can kind of make it behind it. I don't know. I prefer just kind of letting it be a distinct section all on its own. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. Maybe for contrast, I do the green under the description. I don't know, it's kind of hard to read. Perhaps the red that's in the logo. So it's just an idea. It kind of adds something to it. You could do it without. And you don't have to do a photo for all sections. You don't have to use all pictures, but it's a nice way to kind of get the thing to lay out correctly. So what you can do now, and again, not everything is going to fit. It's not going to be appropriate for a picture, so just kind of use your judgment and kind of fit it as best you can. So hopefully this gives you an idea of how to do the inside pages correctly. Are there any questions about how to format text, how you're going to need to lay something out? So I guess instead of sharing, I should probably do sandwiches. And because I changed the size of my header, I'm going to stay consistent here. And then my banner size might need to be changed a little bit as well. Go. So I want to stay consistent as far as size. And then I'll put my text box here. This is another descriptor. And I want to make sure my descriptors are different. It's a little hard to read, so maybe I do the gray. Center it. Or you could do the red, because red's in the logo. All right. So let's see, anything else you guys want to learn to do? I could grab another picture and place it behind. We're doing the sandwich section. Here's the sandwich, oh, here's the sandwiches. Remember, click on the picture, arrange, send to back. This allows you now by doing this, you can't really tell what it is. So the picture might need to be a little bigger. This will go under the picture so that you know what it is. This banner quite possibly can go up here. Thanks, Sonia. Yeah, command left bracket also sends it to the back. So if you're a keyboard shortcut person like I am, then you know you would probably memorize that very quickly. It's easy to arrange objects once you understand what it's doing. Things are kind of layered. Anyway, so that's kind of how you could place pictures. Let's see, we did soup and salad. Here's a picture of a salad. Now remember, you don't have to put all these sections on the same page. I'm just doing one page to show you your options. You don't have to put any pictures on one page. One page could be blank. One page could have maybe 1 or 2 photos, because you're going to have more text than you are going to have photos. So you kind of want to spread it out. So maybe on salads, I don't even use a picture, or maybe because soup and salads is such a long section, I'm going to want to maybe save room. I won't have room for that section. All right. So this is kind of an idea of what it could look like. So you don't even have to have this many sections, but it just is a good way to break up your text, depending on which sections are going to be longer and which ones are going to be shorter. So does this look like it's coming together? Like, does this kind of help with the assignment, what's expected? some things that are good to include on your master pages would be definitely the page number, the name of the company. You don't need the logo on every page. Maybe just the fact that it is a menu, so label it menu. I put the store hours and something about the logo, Bon Appetito, that's kind of the text they've been using. I use the banners for consistency. I'm aligning everything left justified. I'm using my ruler guides to help me. So all these elements put together should kind of help bring the piece together. Are there any questions? None so far? Okay. Well, that concludes our lecture. If there's any questions on, the assignments, I'm happy to answer them. Hopefully this helps give you an idea of what it's supposed to look like or how to make it look good. Oh, there was another thing I wanted to suggest to you. There was another font I had you guys download quite a while ago in our last, when we did the cover in week 3. Let me see what it was called. Oh yeah, Davies. So one thing you could do, remember we talked about making things stand out. If you draw your text box, go to Davies, and go to glyphs. Here we go. And get that hand icon. Let's see if I can find it. This one. This will be my symbol. Remember we talked about little icons in our menus. This is a good way to make something stand out. So if I'm not using a photo, I'll probably use it here. I'll show you how to structure it in just a minute. I don't want it large, I want it small. Icons are very, very tiny. Let's do black. This little icon here will stand out because it looks different from the others. So you can use this to kind of set things apart. Remember, we want to draw people's eyes to the high-selling items. So that's another thing that you can do. You can kind of randomly place. Now this might cause some frustration for some of you because adding elements will kind of throw off your formatting a little bit, but just be patient with it. And go to the Student Success Center if you have any questions. If you need any help, I'll be here tomorrow. Same time for 2 hours, so bring your assignment and I can help you. And good luck with it. Have some fun with it. This is a time to be creative. So remember, things I want to focus on are good clean fonts, serif or sans serif for contrast. For your menu items, you can use a fancy font for maybe a header or 2, but for the most part, try to keep it clean. It's a pizza joint, not a 5-star restaurant, so we want to be mindful of the elements we're using in our design. Any questions before we end? Yeah, Helvetica is great to use. It's a nice clean font. Yep, absolutely. Helvetica and Arial are pretty close to each other. I think they're cousins. Any other questions? Thanks, guys. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow then.